Welcome back everyone to this mini-series where we are covering every Forza Horizon to find out what makes each game the best in the series. We've spent time soaking in the festival atmosphere of Colorado, we took a road trip through the south of Europe, and now it's finally time to journey down under to Forza Horizon 3's Australia. I need to start this video right away by bringing up something that I haven't actually talked about in the first two videos, Horizon 3's trailer. Playground Games has, I think, always knocked it out of the park with their reveal trailers, but Horizon 3 easily takes the cake for me. This moment right here gives me chills every time. Seriously, do yourself a favor and watch the whole thing if you've never seen it before, because I think this is definitely the best trailer they've done. Now, I've got to admit that even though this whole series is born from the idea that I just don't really have a favorite Horizon game, and I think that they all do certain things better than the others, if I'm being absolutely forced to answer the question and give a definitive answer of which game I would say is my favorite, it's 3. And not necessarily because of the game itself, but because this game kinda changed my life. I've told the story before, but I've been a big motorsport fan ever since the beginning, and it took me a while to warm up to the Horizon series. When 1 and 2 were released, I wasn't even really playing console games, so even though I had tried them out at friends' houses, I didn't actually own Horizon 1 or 2 until after playing through the third game. When it was announced that Forza Horizon 3 would be releasing on PC, I figured it would be a good time to jump back in and give Horizon a new chance. And I guess you could say I got pretty into it. This game marked the start of my YouTube career. But of course, this video isn't a history of Hoki Hoshi's YouTube channel, it's about the game. So I think it's time to start talking about why Horizon 3 got me so hooked. I do actually want to start by talking briefly about the game from a technical perspective. This was not only the first Horizon to release on PC, it was also the first Horizon to be playable at 60 frames per second, which might not seem like the biggest deal to some people, but for racing games, this can have a massive impact on how the gameplay feels. And I think this tech upgrade managed to showcase Horizon's simcade handling so much better. I had played the first two games a bit by the time this one came out, but Horizon 3 blew me away with how fun the raw driving experience was. And I really do believe that a large part of that was because of the higher frame rate. Horizon 1 and 2 certainly weren't bad by any means, but Horizon 3's handling at that higher fidelity pretty much blew everything out of the water when it came to non-sim racing games. You know, there's so many games out there across all genres that have really interesting features and systems, but admittedly kind of bad core gameplay. You know, I love the Elder Scrolls and Fallout games, but it's not like the combat is what makes those games fun, even though that is the core gameplay. And you can say that about tons of other games out there, but you can't say that about Horizon 3. This is a game that's just fun to play. It doesn't matter what the context or the story is. The driving feels so accessible and so satisfying, and it was a great entry point for PC players that hadn't been able to enjoy the first two games. I believe that it's Horizon 3 that really brought this series into the mainstream. Now, I do want to move on from graphics and tech stuff because I think it's a pretty boring topic. I mean, it's obvious that each game looks and performs better than the last one. But before we switch topics, I do need to take a moment to give Horizon 3's skyboxes the credit they deserve. I mean, my God, are these skies incredible. This was something that I constantly noticed while playing. Even hundreds of hours in, I sometimes just had to stop and appreciate the beauty of it all. And as an astronomy nerd, I loved that on clear nights you could see the band of the Milky Way so brightly across the night sky, with all the stars accurately represented because these were real super high resolution photos taken in Australia. These are all real Australian skies. And as a bit of YouTuber lore, by the way, this little star cluster here, known commonly today as the Pleiades, is where the name Hoki comes from. So yeah, I think these skies are pretty rad. Without a doubt, they're the best skies in all of Horizon. Although I will admit, Horizon 5 comes in a pretty easy second. Now I want to spend some time talking about Horizon 3's map, because there are some things here that I absolutely adore. The first being Surfer's Paradise, the best city in Horizon, and really the only modern city in all of the games. I mean, if you look at this incredible skyline, no, not that one, yeah, that one. It almost looks out of place for Horizon to see these tall, modern, neon-lit skyscrapers, because we're just so used to getting these smaller, more historical cities that are a bit lower to the ground. Surfer's Paradise, though, can be seen from all the way around the map, and I have such fond memories of driving on the highway towards Surfers at night while watching the fireworks show go off at the city's festival site. It's an amazing landmark within the map that constantly grounds you to this sense of life and activity within the game world. And as we head into the city proper, we see, for the last time, NPCs walking around the city. Now, it's not like they have this radiant AI and are walking all over the city in areas where cars could also drive. They're still cleverly protected from the roads while they stroll around in an endless loop. But when you're flying by in a car, you just don't really notice or care. And this alone is enough to make the city feel so much more alive. I've brought up this theme of liveliness a lot, actually, while talking about the Horizon series, because I do think it's so important to breathe life into these worlds and fill them with activity. Otherwise, they just feel lonely and eerily empty. But that is so not the case with Surfer's Paradise. This is the liveliest city in Horizon, and that's why it takes my #1 spot. And while we're talking about surfers, I do want to shout out this infamous parking lot, by the way, which was a super popular drift spot in Horizon 3. I spent far too much time here running tandems with my buddies. But moving away from the city, the rest of Horizon 3's map is really incredible too. There's so much variety here, from the dense jungles to dry deserts, industrial parks to washed up shipwrecks, waterfalls and canyons. It's an amazing game to explore. And someone correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think Horizon 3 is the only Horizon game to have a gas station in it. I know Horizon 4 and 5 don't have them. I'm almost positive Horizon 2 doesn't either, and I thought maybe Horizon 1 did, but I just spent some time driving around that map and couldn't find one. I think this is it. The one gas station in all of Horizon exists right here in FH3. And kind of on this note, for a bonus fun fact that I always love sharing, you used to be able to run out of gas in Horizon 3. The gas needle would actually drop as you drove, and if you let it run out, the car would just stop. Now, they patched this out of the game because players thought it was a bug when their car suddenly stopped working after driving for a long time, but I still think that was a really cool feature, and I wish we got more kind of sim-style stuff like this in the modern games, alongside the return of some gas stations. Heck, maybe even make them functional this time around. Okay, now we've talked a bit about handling and a bit about the map and the graphics, but we haven't even gotten to all of the amazing features present in Horizon 3 that I think in a lot of ways are what make this game the best in the series. To start, kind of keeping it on the map theme, drift zones and danger signs were added to Horizon 3 and were a great addition to the PR stunt lineup. The drift zones especially captured my attention back when I played the game on release. Horizon 3 was also the first game to have the drone mode, which to this day is a feature that I think is so incredibly cool. It's basically an official free cam within the game, and it kind of fits into the theming of the gameplay. It can help you locate barn finds, or acts as a really fun way to watch your friends drift a spot or do some crazy stunt. For example, I used to spend hours in the drone cam watching and filming tandem runs at this drift zone right here. I love that this is a feature that stuck around for the modern games. Now, these next features that I'm going to list off are things that I always love showing off to players that have only experienced the newer games like Horizon 4 or 5, because it usually blows their minds that we used to have this stuff and they've removed it. And for most of these, it's not like they were insanely well executed, really fleshed out features. It just brings up the question of why did they get rid of this instead of expanding on it? And the first one I want to talk about is the Drivatar lineup. This was a system that allowed you to hire your friends' Drivatars onto your team, and then you would get bonuses depending on how much and how well your friends played the game. And to tag on to this, your own Drivatar earned you credits while it played offline in other people's lineups. So if you were hired on a bunch of other people's lineups, you got a big credit payout every day. It was a really cool concept, even if it was a bit underdeveloped, but it should have been improved on instead of just thrown in the bin. Now, this next feature breaks my heart because I truly think this is one of Horizon's best features and biggest missed opportunities of all time. And it was in Horizon 2 as well, but after Horizon 3, it was scrapped to make way for a stupidly pointless Xbox integration. I'm talking about clubs. No, not the Xbox clubs we know and barely use today. Official in-game clubs in Horizon 3. These had club leaderboards and progression and ranking, and playing the game more actually contributed to your club's rank and level. There was an in-game notice board for club announcements and different roles for different levels of management, all handled in-game. These are some of the social features I want to have back because Horizon 3 did them better. Horizon 3 actually did a ton of social gameplay stuff really well. Playing with friends was so easy because you could just jump into a private open world session with only the people you wanted to play with, and they wouldn't phase out of existence to make room for some random person not even in your convoy. Yes, I'm looking at you, Horizon 5. I even remember this fun little hack my drift buddies and I used to do, where you could have one player start a race and then make sure nobody joined it so it would just fail the event, and then you'd pass convoy leader around or something, and it would end up removing all the traffic from the open world so that we could all drift in peace. This was back before traffic ghosted inside PR stunts. That little bite of nostalgia aside, please bring back these private open world sessions. They're so fun. Horizon 3 also introduced the ability to complete the campaign co-op with, I think, up to 3 other players. The career races would all become team races, where it's you and your buddies versus the AI, which was a great idea. And we do see this now in a lot of aspects of the modern games, where players can do the stories co-op and a lot of the career missions as well. But Horizon 3 was the first to do it. We also had the Airstrip meetup location, a sort of evolution of Horizon 2's car meets that allowed you to jump into drag racing lobbies straight from the meet area. This is another place I spent a lot of time in, testing out my tunes on the Airstrip against unsuspecting noobs. Horizon 3 was also the first game to add a ton of customization options that we now kinda take for granted. This game gave us some limited character customization, custom license plates for the first time, custom horns, and a ton of new body kit options. This was where we saw Liberty Walk and Rocket Bunny kits added to a couple dozen cars, and we also got a bunch of off-road themed upgrades with these light clusters, bull bars, and mud flaps. All this rally stuff was new to Horizon 3. We also saw muscle cars getting these big blowers out of the hood for the first time too. Horizon 3 really added a ton of new customization that we still see pretty regularly today. We even saw the Forzathon come to Horizon for the first time in FH3 as a much more simple timed challenge list that awarded players with things like credits, experience, and rare cars. And as you can see here, right now we are currently on the final Forzathon, Into the Horizon, an event that will last for 80 more years. Forza Horizon 3 introduced so many amazing features to the series and was phenomenal for social gameplay. Some of these features did stick around for later games and might have even been improved on, but some only live in the world of Horizon 3. This really was such a special game that showed a whole new audience what the series was all about, and it did that well. Honestly, and I don't think this is much of a hot take, I kind of think of Horizon 3 as being the first game of the modern Horizon era. It's the earliest one that I still recommend that everyone should play. Horizon 1 and 2 are great, and if you're a newer die-hard Forza fan, yeah, they're still fun games today, but Horizon 3 feels like it could have been released yesterday. It's the point where I feel like Horizon kind of plateaued. And from here on out, it's been more about mixing things up and tweaking the formula that Horizon 3 had admittedly kind of already perfected. This is the Horizon that we know and love today, and that's why Forza Horizon 3 is the best game in the series. Well, folks, now that I've said those magic words, it's time to close the book on Australia, saying goodbye to these incredible skies and landscapes, the social features that many of us long for today, and the one and only gas station in all of Forza Horizon. Thank you so much, everyone, for continuing to watch this series. I have had an incredible amount of fun making it so far. It's been such a great journey down memory lane for me, and as always, I like to end these videos by asking for your opinions on Horizon 3. If this game is actually your favorite, then I want to know why, especially if it's for a reason that I didn't talk about in this video. And if you skipped the game or maybe played it and didn't love it as much as the others, I want to know your reasons for that as well. Whatever your thoughts are on Horizon 3, I want to hear them. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.